Hi, grade 10s. So today we're going to continue our discussion about plants. Today is going to be about water and sugar transport within plants. So we're going to look at water transport in xylem vessels. We're going to look at sugar transport in phloem vessels and the uptake of water in roots. So there is no pump in a tree or a plant, but yet there are massive trees that somehow get their water from all the way to the bottom of their roots, all the way to the top of their leaves where photosynthesis occurs. So we are going to look at properties of water that actually aid in water transport, like cohesion and adhesion. We're going to look at root pressure, and we're going to look at transpiration. These are all things that assist the plant in getting the water to the leaves where it is required. So the plant vascular system is a big part of this. This is the way that the water and the sugar move. So they are made up of, the plant's vascular system is made up of interconnected tubes. It extends throughout the whole plant, and this system is made up of xylem and phloem. So these are specialized tissues that transport water, minerals, and sugars throughout the plant. If you did this probably in grade 7, we cut the end of a celery stalk that was placed in some food coloring, and you can actually see those little red or colored dots, and that is actually where the water, aka the xylem, is taking the water up through to the celery leaves. So the xylem transports water as well as the dissolved minerals from the soil to the leaves. So it's going to be the one that's starting at the bottom and going all the way to the top. These xylem cells actually are originally living, but they do die. Only the cell walls actually remain. You get these hollow things, but the cells are linked end to end to make the long tube. So you can actually see there's a xylem cell right there. Okay. There's one. They're linked end to end, end to end, end to end, and make a xylem vessel, which connects. Phloem transports the sugar, aka that sap, from the leaves to the rest of the plants. These are live cells, and they are also arranged end to end in long connecting tubes so that the sugar can flow through the whole plant. So how does the water move through the plant without a pump? First thing that occurs is water absorption in the roots. So how we maximize, or how plants maximize their water absorption, is through root hairs. The more root hairs there are, the greater surface area there is for osmosis to occur. And we know that osmosis is the movement of water from a high concentration to a low concentration. So what occurs is in the soil, so say you have this plant, okay, and it's got these roots in the soil. The more root hairs there are, the better it is going to be at absorbing water because there is a higher surface area. Now it's sitting in soil. That soil, okay, is hypotonic, which we know, okay, means that it has a higher concentration in the soil than it does in the root. So we're talking about our water and our minerals. So water is going to actually enter from the soil, okay, into the root because of osmosis, because there is a higher concentration on the outside in the soil and a lower concentration in the roots. So that creates root pressure. So it's going to actually push the water into the roots. The other thing that contributes to moving that water is the fact that water has this crazy property called cohesion. Okay? We know what cohesion means. Cohesion means that water sticks to other water molecules. It clings to each other. You can see it on the spider web. That's why certain insects can actually walk across the surface without breaking it. It's because the water molecules are sticking to other water molecules and it pulls each other along. So if I was to add one more water molecule right here, it actually pulls the other guy up. So it sticks to each other. This works alongside the fact that water also has this property called adhesion. And water isn't just sticking to itself, but it's actually sticking to the inside of the xylem. So it is essentially sticking to the outside of that xylem, and it's sticking to each other. So sticking to the outside is adhesion. So that's what's preventing it from falling. And it's actually sticking to each other. So cohesion and adhesion. Then you also actually have transpiration pressure. And this is because, we know that water evaporates out of the leaves, and it does through the stomata, and it does this process, through this process of diffusion, of osmosis, high concentration to low concentration. There's more water in the leaves than on the outside, so it's going to leave the leaves. These air spaces, once it's left, are actually then filled with new water molecules that are being brought up by adhesion and cohesion. It's pulling it upwards. And it actually pulls the whole, let me move this guy. Okay, I won't move it. It pulls the whole column of water up the xylem. So you can see these water molecules, at the bottom here. It's entering, from the soil into the roots, high concentration to low concentration. Cohesion and adhesion are pulling the water up, along with transpiration, which is water molecules are leaving, and it's pulling that water molecule up and throughout the leaf. So it's a constant movement of water. So waters in the leaf, we've got nice water movement and water transport. So how does the sugars move and flow? Well, sugars are made in the palisade layer. That's where majority of the photosynthesis occurs. That's where chloroplasts are. Also occurs in the spongy mesophyll. So there's your palisade, there's your spongy mesophyll. And that sugar is then going to not just be used in the leaf cell, but it's going to actually get used by the whole rest of the plant. So the phloem system has to move the sugar. So it is going to do so, because once the sugar is made in the leaves, it gets pumped into the phloem. That makes the phloem hypertonic. It means it has a lower concentration of water and compared to the cells around it. The water is going to move into the phloem from the surrounding cells by osmosis. And then the water entering the phloem system is going to create pressure that actually moves the sugar and the water down the phloem to the rest of the plant where it is needed. So the sugar is actually transported basically through active transport, because it is going from a high concentration in the leaves. Sorry, no, it's not. It's not active. It's passive. High concentration to a low concentration to where it is needed in the rest of the plant. Okay? And that is it for fluid transport. So we should be able to identify how water moves through the plant, and that involves root pressure, cohesion, adhesion, and transpiration. And it does so through the xylem. And then we should be able to identify how sugar moves, and it does so through the phloem, and with the pressure actually moving the sugar down the phloem to the rest of the plant. That is it for biology, guys. If you have any questions, ask away. I hope it mostly made sense. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.